Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel where we talk about manga and sometimes books. For today's video, I have the reading log for the month of November and it's looking really sad. This is all I read. Physical. I was in a reading slump during the month of November. Not only that, but I had a busy month. Plus, you know, the holidays and everything just got very busy for me, so I couldn't read a lot of my manga. But this is all I read. I'm also going to talk about the stuff I started reading online. So yeah, let's get started with this reading log. Okay, I forgot to mention another thing, and that is that when I am in a reading slump, I like to read BL. It just helps me get out of it. To read something that I enjoyed, something that I like. So I did some rereads and some new reads. So if you don't like BL, maybe don't watch this video, because that's all I'm going to be talking about in today. So let's start off with the first volume here. This is a one-shot, and that is Taka Treasure by Minta Susumaru. We basically follow two characters, who is Taishin and Takara, obviously. So Taishin and Takara meet suddenly one day when Taishin is having a hard time because his pet parrot died, and so he's having a hard time. He doesn't know. He's just like outside his house, like crying, and that's how they meet, because Takara is like walking by and he sees how Taishin is crying, and so he goes up to him and he's like, "Hey, what's wrong?" And that's how they meet. Years later, Taishin starts university and he decides to follow Takara. The thing is, once they meet again, Takara is like, we met once and you follow me all the way to my school. That's very creepy. But obviously they are going to develop a friendship because Taishin decides to join Takara's club, and that's how they get to become closer and develop this friendship that of course is going to move into a relationship. It's a one-shot manga. You're going to have a good time. It was fast. It was something to read very fast. So I definitely recommend this if you want to just read one shots of a BL. Definitely recommend this. I had a good time and it helped me with my reading slump. That's the first manga. Next up, I have a reread. I only managed to read 2 volumes of Cherry Magic 30 Years of Virginity Can Make You a Wizard. Here is the first volume, and here I have the second volume. So this is a reread for me, and the reason why I started to reread it. So the reason why I started to reread this is, again, I was in a reading slump. I wanted to read something that I've read before, but I had also been behind with buying the volume. So now that I have up to the newest volume, I had to reread the entire story again. But let's talk a little bit about Cherry Magic 30 Years of Virginity Can Make You a Wizard. That's a really long title. But yeah, essentially we follow, do you guys know Adachi and Kurosawa? So Adachi is a virgin and he is 30 years old, and he has never been in a relationship from what I remember. So one day he's just like walking around until he stumbles onto his co-worker, which is Kurosawa, who is this guy, and he like bumps into him, and he learns that he can hear his thoughts. And that's when he realizes that Kurosawa has a crush on someone. And so Adachi is like wondering who this someone might be. And so he's just trying to figure out who Kurosawa has a crush on. that is until they bump one again during an elevator ride, and he realizes that Kurosawa has a crush on him. Basically because Kurosawa is like, he looks so cute with his bed head, like his bed head looks so cute. And he realizes that Kurosawa is talking about him, and so he's having a hard time trying to figure out what his feelings are for Kurosawa. So yeah, it's a fun read. Again, I have yet to read the rest of the story, so I'll have a better review as to how the story continues, but this is a good time. I really like this manga. I have also watched the drama. I have yet to watch the anime, but the drama is also really good. It's really fun, and yeah, I just wanted to have a good time. Definitely recommend this as well. Next up, I have another one-shot manga, which is Marriage to Kitsune-sama. So let me see. Subaru. Okay, so we follow Inaho and Subaru. So let me see. This is how it looks on the inside. It's so pretty. So Inaho and Subaru. So he lives in a town where they're sent like the brides to the gods, and this time is Inaho's time to be sent to the gods to become their bride. And so Inaho's husband to be is Subaru, who is this guy right here. He is a fox, obviously. And we basically follow how they're supposed to get married, but the thing is, Subaru has been cursed to eat his husband, so he cannot be close. He cannot get too close to Inaho without trying to eat him. And throughout this one shot, we follow how they're struggling to be together because of this curse, and how they are trying to break said curse. And yeah, it was a fast read. It was entertaining. It was good. If you want to read supernatural romance, I definitely recommend this one. Next up, I have the 4th volume of On or Off, the 3rd volume, and the 2nd volume. So I've talked about this one before, and this is again another reread. So we follow Ji Young and Dae Hyun. I'm so going to mispronounce the name. So Ji Young and Dae Hyun have this sort of office romance where it's so hard to talk about this manga because even I don't know what the plot is. But yeah, so we just follow Ji Young, who is this one, and this is Dae Hyun, who start this sort of one night stand, but then they're like not trying to accept their feelings for one another, and then it moves on to like being like friends with benefits. But obviously there's feelings in this equation, and so they are obviously going to end up together one way or another, but there is a bit of miscommunication, and so that leads to both of them not being together for a while because of this miscommunication. But obviously in the end they're going to stay together and be together. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know how else to explain this story. It's just a good time. This is one where if you want to turn off your brain and just have like a good time, have fun, this is very funny. It's very funny, and sometimes it's a bit ridiculous with how the miscommunication happens. But yeah, it helped me get out of the reading slump that I was in, especially because I had already read this, which somehow makes it really bad, the fact that I cannot explain this very well. But yeah, definitely recommend it. It's very explicit, so if you don't like mangas that are explicit, don't read it. I'm saying that because I know not a lot of people enjoy reading explicit content. So yeah, that's all I read in physical form. Let's talk a little bit about what I read online. I'm going to like put images of the stories I'm going to be talking about when I edit this. Okay, I'm going to start off with 19 Days. This is a comic that is being published by a Chinese author, and yeah, this is such a good time. It's a slice of life. We follow 4 characters, that's 2 couples, and yeah, it's a slice of life. We follow their everyday activities that they do. The story does start when they are in high school, and now that I've caught up to every episode that there is, they are now in like working adults. And yeah, this is the definition of slow burn, guys. There's like 400 and something episodes, and just recently in like episode 412, I think, we got the first kiss, and it was so good. I had such a good time. Yeah, so if you want to read something that's slow burn, really slow, definitely recommend this one. It's slice of life. There's nothing explicit about this manga. It has a lot of comedy, and it's a BL, so I definitely recommend that one if you want to have a good time. Next, I also read, hold on, let me get the information. I also started reading Geek of the Day, which is by the same author of No Love Zone, which is Danby. So we follow Yumin and Teiso. So Yumin is a college student who has a lot of part-time jobs, doing all sorts of odd jobs. And the reason why he has this is because his father left him a debt, and now he's trying to pay off the loan sharks. And Teiso is like a CEO, and he has scandal after scandal, and so one day they stumble upon each other. The thing is, Teiso has this scar on his face, and so when they meet, Yumin thinks this is so funny, I'm sorry. Yumin thinks Teiso is one of the loan sharks who is trying to get him to pay off the debt, and then Teiso thinks Yumin is someone who's like trying to get like dirt and gossiped on him. So they're thinking they're definitely miscommunicated. They don't even know each other when they first meet, of course. So there's this like goose chase that is happening because Yumin sees this and Teiso sees him, and he's like, this guy is a stalker, I need to stop him. And then Yumin is like, this is a loan shark, I need to run away from him. And that's like the first chapters. Of course, the problem gets resolved with Teiso catching Yumin, and they talk what is happening, and that goes on to them having this sort of like friends with benefits type of relationship. And yes, I really like this manga so far. Not manga, manhwa. It's still ongoing. There's like 25 episodes released. So the first season is already over, but I'm not really sure when season 2 is going to start. There is a bit of dubious consent towards the end of the first season, so that's something that kind of put me off the story for a bit. but I really do want to see how their lives connect, because I think Tetsu's company has something to do with Yumin's father's debt. So I cannot wait to see how the author is going to connect that and how it's going to impact the relationship Yumin and Tetsu are now starting to develop. So that's the first one. And another one that I've read, which I think this is the one that got me out of my reading slump. It was such a fun time. This is another one where you just have to turn off your brain and just be there for the story and don't even think about the plot. It does have plot, I will say that. It's very interesting, and it's very funny as well. So I'm talking about Special Benefits for Newlyweds. This is another manhwa. The author is Do Kyung, and this is an Omegaverse. The characters are in college, and so we basically follow the Alpha, who is Cha Sun Woo, and the Omega, who is Lee Ji Dam. So Lee Ji Dam is having like a hard time controlling his pheromones. If you have read Omegaverse, you know what I'm talking about. So he's having a hard time controlling them. So because of this, he's like taking test after test, because with his pheromones out of control, he cannot like continue going to college, because he apparently is going to distract all the alphas in his classrooms. And so he keeps taking test after test, and one day while he's looking at one of the tests, it like flies away, and he goes and tries to catch it, and that makes him lean over like a bridge, and that's where Sun Woo shows up, and that's how they meet. Later on, we learn that Sun Woo just like goes ahead and is like, "You're an Omega, right? Like, do you want to marry me?" And Ji-dam is like, "What?" So Sun Woo tells him that if they get married and they create this bond, Ji-dam will be able to continue to go to college, because he's now going to be bonded to an alpha, and that's going to help control his pheromones. And they also go into this like what's it called, like a contract where they get special benefits for when they get married, and one of those benefits is that the Omega gets allowed to go to college and like get a job and all of that. But there is a catch, and that is the fact that they need to get very close in order for them to get all of these benefits and show that they are actually married. And by close, you guys know what I mean. So yeah, it's a fast read. It's very funny. It's like I said, it does have a plot with them trying to figure out how to get close to one another, because Ji-dam is very shy and Sun Woo is like he's always throwing himself at Ji-dam. But it's a very fun read. I had a good time, and season 1 is over and season 2 is already out, which is the one that I'm currently reading. Again, it does have explicit content. That one and Geek of the Day are very explicit. So yeah, if you don't like to read explicit manhwas, don't read them. But if you do, just know that you're just going there to have a good time. Don't expect like a big plot. And yeah, that's all I read during the month of November. It wasn't a lot, but I had some really good reads. And yeah, if you like this video, don't forget to leave a like and consider subscribing. And I will see you all on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.